Alright, it's Coach Nefarious, and I will be analyzing live a game between Phoenix and Legion. So, let's just get right into it. This is gonna be mostly a coaching thing, right? So I'm not just gonna going to cast or shoutcast or whatever it's called these days. Mostly going to focus on analysis and improvement. Anyway, so we got Nara versus Urgot in the top lane, Jarvan versus Hecarim in the jungle, Orianna Ahri in mid lane, and Tristana Lux versus Sivir Zyra in the bot lane. Let's just analyze those lanes a little bit. Gnar is ranged matchup against a Juggernaut. That's what we counterpicked, right? Urgot is definitely a Juggernaut, especially after the changes. Less so than a poke champion with his Q. Since his Q got nerfed, W got buffed. More of a Juggernaut, easier to run down, right? So what I said is, like, late game, your win conditions are mainly Tristana and Orianna. While early game, Tristana got nothing. Like, she can get turrets, so it's actually, it's never black and white like that, but I try to make it sound more black and white, because that gives some clarity. And I noticed that clarity is more important sometimes than accuracy. So what I feel is that in the early game, Urgot is their win condition. Ahri is their main win condition. That's even more important, right? So if let's say if they get Ahri ahead, they can snowball Urgot with the Ahri. So Ahri is like a sort of a placeholder win condition. Whichever lane, if you had any champion in the game that is a win condition, and you have an Ahri in the mid, then obviously Ahri can just help that person get ahead, and that's how you achieve a win condition. So Ahri is always in the early game. It's essentially in the category of any roaming champion, and any, I guess you could call it a champion with a high carryover of impact, right? It's like it has a high chance of converting its lead into another lane. Anyway, so you know what I mean. I'll work on the terminology a little bit. And then Urgot would be their secondary win condition in the early game. Sivir Zyra, sure, right? Whatever. It's just like, I would not be planning 4-man dives, but if they execute it well, again, any strategy you go for, especially in the lower elos, any strategy that you perfect is going to work. Doesn't matter if it's theoretically sound, right? So if Hecarim wanted to start at a blue buff or something, you could probably make that work, right? If Hecarim wants to do some wacky, cheesy route and invade, it's gonna be hard, but with an oracles and like someone else, like mid lane having oracles and sweeping early on to check if there's no brush wards here, you can make anything work. Here we see an Ahri inting it down. That is essentially like game over for Ahri. Theoretically, she should. I don't know if you have to base at this point or if you're just like. I mean, you're so screwed. So, I'm gonna talk about wave management here. Concept and wave management. If you have absolute dominance, what's wave management for is like the question that you should ask yourself here, right? Wave management gives you small leads. It gives you small leads because you have more zonal control from like a little bit of extra damage, and you get your levels slightly faster. So it gives you a little lead like that, a little edge on your opponent. If you have unconditional control, and you're always going to be ahead in level, and you can just deny her even entering experience range from a wave, right? Because she's less than half HP. Then do you need a slow push? Do you need to manage the wave in such a way that you get a lead out of it? No, right? And now the question is, what happens when you build up a slow push? Well, obviously your minions are going to kill the enemy minions before the enemy minions kill yours. So there's going to be less denial. If someone pushes into you, or you slow push less, more enemy minions will die, which means more denial if someone can't walk up to the wave, right? So there's a trade-off here. Slow pushing gives you a little edge in the lane in terms of strength, but it gives you less opportunity to deny your opponent. Compared, like, obviously, if you can unconditionally zone someone off, that is, right? Less minions will die. It's very important to understand it in context. Alright. So that's just a little thing here. Like, you don't need to slow push this wave. Yeah, I want... Oh, this CSing. Ah, this is tilting me. Oh, shit. Iron Man, come on. do my exercises. Look at my exercise for slow pushing and last hitting. It's like, it's gonna help. It's gonna make an impact. So, Jarvan is doing my route. And I love that. It's like, it's so nice. Like, especially when a couple of different people do things on good instruction in conjunction with one another. So it actually has an impact. I didn't say anything about how to clear the scuttle, but you're doing it correctly, which is really good. And you're moving through wards, which you don't know yet, which is fine. Again, this is fine. See, you could say, well, maybe Jarvan needs to start Oracle. Again, if you get the basics down, and we're doing this comfortably, we can start working on the next thing. What do pro teams do at the start? Where do they ward? Well, there's 2 wards over here. Where do they, like, how do they sweep? How do they know if there's any wards here? Well, the Gnar could be sitting over here. You get all these nuances, right? We don't need the nuances. That's not my point at all. So the fact that you're walking over wards and you didn't know it, I don't give a shit. Okay, that's a little bit rude to say it that way, but you know what I mean. Alright, so what I said here, remember what I said here? I said, if you're done invading, right? If you're done ganking, sorry, then you're looking for an invadus. Like, the order is like, there's not an exact order, but you want to go as deep into the map as possible. You want to get the resources that are hardest to get, right? And you want to get resources that have a time constraint to them. So ganks have a time constraint. The camps also have a time constraint and have a spatial constraint, right? They're somewhere on the map. So you want to move deeper and faster, right? By ganking and invading before you do things like a blue buff. So I want to see you try here. Again, I'm kind of ruining this game through my coaching, I see, because we didn't exactly get it right. Again, you see this is a time thing, right? So if you clear, and then gank, and then go into this red buff area, into this raptor in a straight line like this, you're gonna get him. If you don't, you're not gonna get him. It's really just a time constraint thing. So there's a time constraint, there's the wards, again, these are details. I like that you're trying my concept. And if there was a way to easily get first blood 100% of the time and execute things correctly, then coaches would have absolute control over MOBA games. That wouldn't be any fun, right, for the players. So it's good that, you know, we're working out execution components here. Okay, so when we saw Hecarim top lane, this happened in our previous game as well, by the way. So just a quick thing. If you think he knows where someone is, you're probably right. So you need to be more confident and more decisive in your knowledge about the enemy jungler. Like right now, it's like... So, here's a minion wave. That's over here, right? So look at this. Here's a minion wave. And here's your current minion wave. And what you need to do is clubber stomp these minions. Right? Trading here is inefficient because you both need to base. All you wanted to do here was get this wave into the turret. And after you failed to do that, you were essentially dead, right? You're working with a time constraint here because you saw Hecarim in the jungle. And how big that is just a matter of just, you know, basic calculation. Like, you know how long it takes him for him to get from here to there. You can ward on the slow push if you need to extend it, if you have health. If you don't have health, you fucked up. And that's just how it is, right? So if you did something, you pushed a button, oh shit, I'm falling low now. But Hecarim stopped, well then you know you got a base. That's the awkwardness of the situation sometimes. But that's fine, right? That's just the little bits. Again, like, you don't have to finesse everything. Alrighty. Okay, these are really good trades. You can see the matchup working out here. The range matchup, that is. Just sitting at a distance, poking this guy down. Not really getting poked in return because you're CSing from a distance. Alright, so what is our Jarvan doing over here? Alright, so what I said was... Remember what I said about the ganks, right? Okay. This is really good that you're just clearing some camps during this off time. Is Urgot gankable here, by the way? And you can answer that in two ways, depending on what kind of jungler that you are. But the answer is yes. Now, the reason I say there's two answers is because Urgot has a TP advantage in Flash, which doesn't incite you to gank him. So there's a little nuance besides which lane you want to focus. Which what do you call it? Your ganks essentially depend on how many resources someone has, right? If someone's full HP against half HP, at some point you can't even gank it and force someone out of lane or even let them win, right? So the gank impact is going to be very low. If someone doesn't have flash and you just go in there and kill them, gank impact is usually very high. Usually. So in this case, you could probably kill him. Like, I think you're either going to kill him with Gnar having flash and E, would have killed him here, right? And the main constraint is that this wave management is constantly showing up. So I played a game with a silver jungler, and I was perfectly managing the wave, trying to freeze it in mid lane. Mid lane freezes are the hardest in the entire game. I was like, oh, I was so proud, you know. It's like, I'm doing it. Yeah, I got it for another wave. I froze it. Like, okay, gank me right now, please. And then I froze it for another wave. I was like, please gank me, by the way. Gank me. Gank, like, you're in river. You're right there on the scuttle. Gank me. I'm like, I gotta do blue first. Okay, please gank me, though. Like, okay, you're doing blue. I didn't know. I told you to gank right now, but alright. Anyway, point is, that's what you want to achieve, right? Mini freezes, like this. And they can be achieved in two ways. Sometimes it's through your elaborate efforts to stall this wave out. And sometimes it's simply because your enemy doesn't manage the wave appropriately. So right here is a moment where you need to assess, like, what's my gank window right like? And at the moment, it looks like Urgot's gonna take too long to clear the wave, right? So look at this. What should Hecarim have done here? Hecarim should have cleared this incoming minion wave to push it into the turret. They shouldn't have just cancelled backs here. Look at this, right? So it all starts over here when Hecarim backs off. This is where everything goes wrong, right? You see this? He's not really trying to push it either. He's not really pressuring this wave either. Look at this. Is he pushing? Is he? No, he's just sitting in this freeze forever, right? And your jungler, if you're in this position, my bad in the game that I played with Silver Jungler, I'm saying it like it's an insult or something. Like, I'm not trying to rank shame here. Like, I'm just saying that there's a big rank discrepancy, which, for example, can describe who has the responsibility to communicate. If I'm playing jungle in a tournament with plat or gold players, I have the responsibility to tell everyone what I want to have happen, right? Some authority. If someone's challenger, and I'm just like, I don't know, if I'm a laner or a jungler, I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? Because they have authority, right? That's just basically what happens, right? So you can see here what happened is eventually turns into a push. And ironically, that's when Jarvan heads top lane, which is the worst time. Again, I'm not trying to, like, be a jerk about it. Like, it's like the worst possible time, man. It's not wrong, because essentially turret dives are decent because you can, like, pinch him. You can, essentially, he has no more points of safety, right? He's already over here. You can just loop around him. Hey, he's screwed. So turret diving is decent. Another thing that's decent is ganking in the neutral lane, or ganking when he's frozen. That's excellent. But the worst part is when someone's close to his turret, but you don't have any minions there, and you can't really dive him yet. Like, he can kite back towards behind his turret, right? Because there's nobody over here. Well, if you pinch him off together with a minion wave under the turret, you can just go in at the same time, and he has nowhere to run or kite towards. So you see how that works, right? That's just a good example of planning between the jungler and the laners in terms of wave management. So you see a wave, where is it going to end up? And how do the laners... The laners have control over the wave position, right? They can say, I want this to bounce into my turret as hard as possible, so I'm going to not clear the minions at all. Or you can say, I want this to last longer. I want this to last until the jungler gets here. It's going to take him a while, so I'm going to try and stall him. You have that power as a laner, so you can communicate. Right? And that's, for example, something I'm lacking, and I'll be very honest in that, where I'm just like, I'm sitting in this freeze and I'm just shutting up. I'm just not saying anything. It's crazy. So you guys have to do as I say and not as I do, and be more proactive than I am in my communication. You have to actually talk about it. You have to actually tell your jungler, hey, this dude is pushing. He's in a freeze. Please gank me. That's what you need to do. And you absolutely have that authority. You absolutely get to do that. If you do that 100 million times, eventually someone might get pissed, and we can talk about it. Like, maybe we need to focus our attention a little bit different, or maybe when you're calling it, it's not actually a good gank opportunity. We can talk about that. But in this case, it's all about that communication and wave management. Look at Iron Man just smurfing it out here. Good job, guys. Good job. Got the Infernal. Okay. Yeah, that's awkward. That was a good, it was a good pick, right? Because of Jarvan not having any resources left, no mana bar. Alright, so this is going downhill pretty fast. You can see if you don't get any opportunities on the map, then obviously it's going to go downhill pretty fast. You gotta, essentially you gotta approach it this way. There's different types of mistakes, right? So let's say if you were, I don't know, if you were just like heading outdoors and you're just, I don't know, you want to cross the street blindly, you're tossing a coin that decides whether you get hit by a car, right? So what happens is that's a type of mistake that you're making that could get you killed. Then there's, let's say if you're just cycling and you're not putting your hand out to let everyone know around you which direction you're going. That's a mistake that doesn't kill anyone in the usual circumstances, right? It's like, that's pretty uncommon. Point here is that if you don't finesse your kiting on camps, and you don't finesse the last hits, and you don't finesse the wave management, okay, that's fine. That's fine. But if you have a freeze here, you should be calling your jungler. And then you have the freeze for another wave. You should be calling your jungler, and then another wave. Like, this freeze lasted really, really long, and it's our #1 priority, right? I said, what did I say again? Let's see what I typed. So, top is bigger than mid is bigger than bot lane in early game. And in mid game, mid is bigger than top's bigger than bot. For us. And for them, mid lane is the biggest deal. Then top, then bot. And then, essentially, top is their win condition, but mid converts it. So, it depends on how you want to use the terminology, but I think mid is more important to focus on first in that way, right? Guess it's not really win condition, but a more like an order, right? Alright, this game is turning into a little bit of a mess. Because essentially Orianna wants to push the wave and stay near the turret, right? Because Lux Tristana is designed to farm and to just essentially maybe get some plates if they get priority at some point due to micro. It's a pretty neutral lane, right? It's just like whoever micros better, manages waves better, last hits better, eventually gets a lead. Unless the junglers make a difference. But Orianna can't just step in there and go ooga booga booga and kill everyone. So now you gotta make an assessment, because these minions got chunked, right? Can you push this? Now, I think you can, but I might be wrong. I'm not a bot laner. Again, I don't have that finesse in lanes I don't play. I have the general concepts. I know it's gonna suck if they just don't touch the wave. It's gonna eventually push into them. At least they're casters, so it's trailing behind the cannon, which also got chunked down just a little bit. So, if they push like this, like, again, the question is, should they have been pushing like this? Look at this. Okay. Oh my god, they have a coach. They're not pushing it. Well played. So, this is a good example of why I think you should probably just went all in to try and clear the wave. Like, if you have to use Lux Ultimate to clear the wave, that's fine. And eventually they end up pushing it anyway. Like, I don't know why. I don't know what's happening here. Maybe they didn't know what the jungler was or something crazy like that. I mean, obviously they got full control over the other lanes anyway. So I can imagine that they're like, let's just clear this stuff in base. We already denied them a wave. Again, this is finesse. So they got the right concept down. The enemy team, kudos here. This was good. They just denied you guys like a lot of CS. Kudos. They got the job done. What can I say? Alright, now, one topic I haven't touched on yet is how to play from behind. Because if you suddenly replace everyone with challenger players in a silver gold game, obviously you can come back from quite the lead. Part of that is going to always be about the finesse, the exact details that you just can't figure out through coaching, right? That just takes practice, etc. But there are also some things that I see go structurally wrong in these games. So I'm just gonna... I haven't seen what's gonna happen yet, but usually what happens is that a lot of objectives go contested, where I'm like... for example, let's just give an example first. I was playing with a lineup of pretty bad players, and we were doing really, really, really well against lineups of diamond players in this national tournament of a national league. I was actually not actually coaching, but playing, right? And the thing is, what we did is, if we fell behind, every single time we'd just be like, nope, give that up, nope, just turtle it out. Turtling it out is something that I see very infrequently in Valence League. Sometimes people even lose from ahead because they simply lose one fight, or they get picked off with one person, and then everyone else keeps fighting and fighting and fighting and combating over every single resource on the map. It's like, what makes you think you can get those resources? Don't bring a knife to a gunfight, right? So if you're trying to get a gunfight down and you get tossed a knife as the game progresses, you gotta back off a little bit. And I mean, that's actually such a bad example because a knife is close range, right? But you know what I mean. So this doesn't work. I mean, it kind of works, but this micro is not the point. Like, it's like, oh shit, you missed your ultimate. Oh my god, that's not the point. It's gonna be a 5-man bot lane if you do this. This is the opposite of stalling. You want to stall right now. Proactive 4-man dives is something you do early game. Now, it's not something I would have coordinated or told you to do in this game, because mid is not a roaming mid laner, and bot is just like, you know, Tristana Lux. They don't have a lot of hard engage. I know it may sound that way, like, oh, Lux has a snare, but it's like, it's not reliable point-and-click, boom, L-start, flash WQ. It's different. So right now, you got, like, you just, look at this. This is like a screenshot right here. So, remember when I talked about this? Look at this, look at this. So, you shove the wave. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see them ping that? My point here is that they knew you were going towards this side. Again, and I said this in a coaching session, remember? Now, this is not to hold it against you, like, if I say it once, you gotta know it for the rest of your life. No, that's not what I mean. I just wanted to show you that this is actually something that affects how people process what you're doing. If you go straight back, they kinda assume that you're going to base. And if they're consciously thinking about it, they could be like, he can go either way. He can go anywhere, because it's the center. But if you're autopiloting and you're just doing your dandy thing, you see Orianna here clearing the wave and going like straight back, you're just like, okay. It doesn't register that like, holy shit, she's roaming bot lane. Careful, right? This is also a really nice pink ward. If it's placed all the way over here, it just gets... You can dodge it if you know it's there, but you generally don't know it's there, right? That's the point of the ward. But the main point here is that you have to, as I said earlier, if you want to do a roam, you shove the wave and you go straight back. Then you threaten to go in either 3 directions. You either choose to base, go top, or bot. If you want to be 200 IQ, that's also something I mentioned back then, right? If you want to be 200 IQ, you can try and march towards the side you're not actually going to gank and then loop a longer way around. It's going to take more time, of course. If you're Orianna, you might not have that time right now. That's something you can do. But under no circumstance, really, unless you're like the king of bluff and everyone assumes you're bluffing, is that you're always going to just hug the bot side before you finish clearing it. Makes a difference. It really does. They were already pinging you over here when you were not in vision. They were pinging you because you were standing over here when you cleared the wave. Alright. Don't want to bash for too long. Sometimes I go on about it a little bit longer than people like. That's not always a bad thing. Obviously, I want things to really stick, which can make you feel bad. But I gotta maybe tone it down just a little notch, you know? I don't want to sound like I'm just trying to, like, crush all hopes and dreams you have of playing League of Legends. Alright. So, let's take a step back. Look at progress. So they're 6k ahead. What do you do when they have 30% lead on you? Or more, right? They're more than 30% ahead. This is essentially... what's it called? Like, they have these special red alerts or something, right? This is maximum alert. This is everyone shut down, turtle. You know, try and not just instantly die and lose the game, right? If you're playing in competitive, that is. If this was solo queue, you would be opening the game. You gotta be realistic with your expectations. You don't give up, but you have to be realistic. So what that means in this case is you have to know that you should be losing this game really fucking hard. And as a response, the way you play around that is by stalling and turtling. Your time of proactive plays has ended. Your win condition now is to capitalize on enemy blunders. Not just like mistakes and finesse, but enemy blunders, right? This is silly. Here, essentially, your zone is like this, right? This is your safety zone. This is the danger zone. Like, this ledge over here is the danger zone. Anything past this is like, YOLO! And just like running it down. You see what I mean? It's like they should be getting these tier 2. You can just hand the turrets to them because nothing good is going to happen when you try and stop them from doing so. So unless you actually can clear the wave safely, then there's no point. This, again, this is the same thing, right? So look at this, like what I just demonstrated, right? Do you see this? This was the danger zone. And you can see her thinking about ulting in here. This is just like, YOLO, and you die. This is where you're already dead. Like, everything after this is like, no. You're already dead. Don't worry about it. She's level 11. This is what happens when someone's 5-0, has an item, slows you, ults, flashes, ignites. And they can spend those resources because there's no pressure, right? There's no pressure elsewhere. So we're not getting anything done in other lanes. If you're ahead, and you're not, like, you don't have a shutdown on yourself. If your team is ahead, but you're 0-2, and their 5-0 mid laner just used every single resource to kill you, that's worth as hell. Because your fed, whatever player it is gonna come in and clean everyone up. That's not what happened. That's why this is different. That's why you play this out differently. This is shutdown mode. Turtle mode. League of Legends Turtle Edition. I'm a snapping turtle, y'all. I don't know if you guys know that meme. If you don't, then this probably sounds really weird. Yo, I'm a snapping turtle. Still don't know if that guy was trolling. I mean, just to be clear, like, I'm a snapping turtle. Yeah, I mean, funny idea. Not the best execution. I don't think it should work, but it's the best attempt you have. It actually does work. Maybe either I'm wrong about my evaluation, or they fucked up and did something stupid. Either way, even if they fucked up and did something stupid, obviously that's what you're looking for, right? So it's like, it is a really, really, really good engage, and that's, like, this is the best you can ever hope for, right? You're not gonna get anything better. So even if you don't stall the game, one exception for turtling and stalling is that it's just like an opportunity that's like meh, but it's the best meh you're gonna get. Like, you're not gonna get a better meh than this, right? Oh, here, I don't really understand why there's no zonal control from anyone. Like, look at this. Like, this right here. As you're jumping in here, this should be a snare, right? Because it's obviously they're gonna get 5-man ulted. Hecarim, does Hecarim have ult? Yeah, he has ult. So why doesn't he ult here? He's still not ulting. There's no charm either. It's really weird. So this shouldn't work. Like, when I look at this, I in my mind, I envision the zonal control that they still have remaining on their team. But they didn't see you as a threat and didn't use it on you. So it doesn't really work, but it worked. See what I mean? So, good job. And I think it's really good that you're going for this. But just be aware, that this wouldn't work if the enemy responded appropriately. Oh, that was clean. Did he use smite for that? Because then it's not clean. Yeah, he didn't have smite, right? Oh, he does have smite. So then it's just, then he's just fucking dumb. Alright. Because he smited that way too late. And took a really weird angle, like he gets vision first and then ults. Like, have a little faith. I guess he doesn't have any wards. Maybe I'm overreacting to this. Wait. Yeah, they did have ward. Is that Hecarim's ward? It's Hecarim's ward. Alright, he's just a dunce. He's just a madman. Looping all the way around. Get reeled in. Alright. Maybe we should bring it to a close here. We talked about a lot of interesting concepts. Let's just do a quick little recap. So, first of all, great job. You followed the instructions, like, meticulously. Now, my instructions, though, do need a little bit of finesse. So, one of those details, let's just get right back into that, is that you do need to actually be fast. Right? It's all about speed. If someone's clearing their raptors 5 seconds quicker, you're not going to get them. If they're 5 seconds delayed, well then, easy, right? Easy. So, if you look at this pool, 47 is decent time. This is already weird. You're walking in inefficient direction. You want to take this bomb plant. This saves you seconds. And every single second you save... Wow, that's a funny alliteration. Every single second you save, right, is gonna be a second you're gonna contest this dude in his topside jungle. So he went for the most aggressive route possible. He's like, I'm gonna kill this guy. You saw bot lane leashed, so you should be entering the topside jungle. Again, this is not something I mentioned, so this is something we're gonna focus on next time. I should have said that. Oh my god, why didn't I say that? So... I didn't even consider that. So the gank top lane is assuming that Hecarim is not a moron. And the reason I'm saying that is because Hecarim, when he saw you on the scuttle, should have bolted towards his bot side. And he should be stalling his decision. This is why you need to go full clear in his bot side. He should be full clearing this to stall his decision to move somewhere. Because if he did all his stuff in bot side, where he's safe, this is his safety zone, and then you go top, he goes bot. You go bot, he goes top. He can avoid you that way. That's why you go red Crux. That's the red Crux route. Even though that's so slow that usually you can lose both scuttles. So the double scuttle route counters red Crux most of the time. Point is, though, that red Raptors is usually enough time to stall, or like full clearing bot side, is enough time to stall that decision to move somewhere. If someone literally goes for this and doesn't show up on a ward like this, you can invade, right? So you were on this ward, he's not on this ward, so you know that he's probably going for stop side. Another thing is that we can go over early game wards, because there's 2 wards here, which both are completely useless. You want to get it over here, or at least, I can't get the warding indicators, but you want to at least cover this little ledge over here. So you don't have to put it in this brush, but at least get this ledge. Get this ledge. See what I mean? So that you can see him if he just briefly crosses through here. Now this would be like, if they know you have a ward somewhere, then this ward would suck because they can avoid it. But they probably don't know. Again, that's finesse. That's finesse. Doesn't matter. Right. And then this is also awkward, right? Because if you want to invade, if you have any premonition, oh, I love that word. If you have any knowledge beforehand of whether this dude is going to go towards you or away from you, if he goes away from you, you want to gank. If he goes towards you, you want to kill him. Well, if he goes away from you and he cleared his jungle, then you can't really invade, but it's like otherwise invading is always an option, right? If invading is for whatever reason is an option, it's fine if this dude is pushing. If invading is not an option, you want to gank. You want to absolutely get something done by ganking. So then you don't want someone to be pushing, right? You want Gnar to get pushed in and then gank before he completes the push. Alright. That's a lot. That's a lot for one session. Alright. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Hope you guys didn't get just washed over with information. And I will hopefully see you guys in the next one.